Well, they took a break. It was time for Lance to work on that right knee. He needed to be walking around, so he got up and used the walker, and he was doing much better. It was kind of miraculous how fast he was healing. This time, he walked to the end of the little garden there and managed to turn around and came back, and then did it again. Sat down. He was getting stronger fast, and now Violet wasn't that surprised really. She was just pleased, and she said, "You know, at the rate you're getting better, I think we're going to see tonight if you can make it up the stairs so you can sleep in a bed instead of on the couch. The only thing about that is if we do it, you got to promise if you wake up early, you don't try to come down without us watching." I think you can do that. And another thing she thought they should do is take a field trip. Time to get outside of the house and outside of the garden. And she had a place in mind that they could do. And of course, he was curious, well, where we go? And she said, I'll surprise you. But I'll tell you this much. It's a place that the like of which I have my doubts if you've ever really been to, and it's a favorite place of mine. So you'll find out tomorrow. So anyway, he got back down there, still outside, and sat down at the table, and he said, "You know, Violet, I thought of a couple of things that I could still tell you about Wedge. He is helping us, or was helping us anyway, is helping us, that's Morgan and me, to build something of our own, a tiny little thing, but so that we would have a place, you know, to go to that we could call our own in a way." That was the one thing. And the other thing I wanted to tell you I thought about is when I said his place is junked up and he's got all those tools and stuff. Well, did you ever hear of the salvage economy? Salvage economy? They have a name for it now. And Wedge taught me about that. He was pleased that they have a name for it. He's got so many parts of this and parts of that which could be used. Take an old dryer, clothes dryer, for example, that the bearings have gone out. Well, there's a motor in there, and you know, so he's got them separate, sort of. Well, anyway, I wanted to tell you that. Now, Elaine had been listening to all of this and hadn't really said too much, but she said, "You know, the way you described this with Wedge and all these animals and stuff, it sounds a little bit like a Noah's Ark." And you know, Lance said, "Yeah, in a way it is. I mean, he always tries to have at least two of every kind of animal that he has, but his principal thing is to have animals, but make sure that he's taking care of them." Elaine went on. She said, "And you know, with the way you describe it, with these waterfalls and there's mountains there, you say, in woods, and it sounds so nice. It kind of sounds like a Camelot." And that kind of took Lance by surprise, and he said, no, Wedge has had all kinds of animals, but he's never had llamas, and he certainly has never had camels. And if he did, he didn't have a lot of them, but he probably would if he could. So no, you mean like a feedlot kind of a thing? Camelot? No. Well, you know, Elaine and Violet just kind of looked at each other at that and kind of let it drop. Then Violet said, I have a question here. How did he get my address? He gave you, in your cell phone, he gave you my address. How did he get it, and why did he have it? And Lance said, I can tell you that because he explained it to me. It was when COVID was was so bad. He got worried about you, and he wondered where you were, and he wondered if you were okay. And so it took some looking, but he had a former student of his worked for the state police, and he knew he had ways of. He said I can find people, and so he managed to find your address, and he had it, and so he just gave it to me on the chance that I might be going through there, and on the chance that I might need something, because he was convinced that you would help him if needed. And then Violet finally said, "Well, tell me this: is he happy?" And well, Lance paused. He said, "You know, when he's with Morgan and me, he seems so happy, and he's happy when he's with his animals, and he's happy when he's digging ditches, his system. But I don't know. I think he's lonely. You see, this is my explanation, but he's talked to me a bunch about this. He was convinced 50 years ago that he could see the future. He thought he saw what the future held. And he thought, and he still thinks, that he saw a solution. But he could not convince. He couldn't even convince his family. So he Morgan and me are kind of a case in point. We think he's right, but it's just so hard the solution he sees. He's so extreme. So, he doesn't have people that are like-minded, and he's kind of just accepted that, but that leaves him with a certain kind of loneliness, I think, that's there. Well, Violet said, enough. I don't want to talk about Wedge anymore. Not now. Maybe I shouldn't have asked.